Hello, my name is Support Israel 35 and welcome to the second in my Why Do People Laugh at Creation Deniers series. Many people will deny that God is the creator, claiming instead that we all came from a dot that exploded out of nothing. When was the last time you saw something explode out of nothing? Since science is based off of repeatable observation, this is obviously not science. Religion is the only word for it. This is just one fallacy of atheism. First matter came out of nothing, then proceeded to go against the laws of thermodynamics to increase in complexity, until we end up with a fine-tuned earth full of fine-tuned living creatures. Living creatures that instinctively know that there is a creator that they will have to answer to. Atheism takes way more faith than a belief in a loving, almighty God ever could. Now I want to debunk one claim in the Why Do People Laugh at Creationists video part 1. In this video, the creation denier, Thunderfoot, claims that it is impossible for the Grand Canyon to form in 5 minutes. As evidence, he focuses on the length of the canyon. During Noah's flood, the water was coming from north and south towards the equator. Kent Hovind explains why in his Age of the Earth seminar. The Grand Canyon runs east and west, and its maximum width is 18 miles. In order to travel 18 miles in 5 minutes, the water would only have to be traveling between 200 and 300 miles per hour, which is entirely possible given that the water was melting from an absolute zero ice meteor. This is just one example of how these atheists' claims cannot stand up to even the most basic scrutiny. Now I want to direct your attention to his claim about water in the solar system. Thunderfoot claims that there is water on the moons of Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. With the exception of Enceladus, we have never actually observed water on any of the other moons. It may be there, but we do not know. To be sure requires faith. Again, creation deniers, you claim to criticize religion but in the process create one of your own. A very dangerous one, I might add. A religion that led to the deaths of millions upon millions of people in the last century. Now let us think about something, atheists, I mean creation deniers. When you are on your deathbed, will you still be so sure that there is no God? Or will you have the nagging doubt that most everyone else was right, including Albert Einstein and Isaac Newton, and there is a God? If you are wrong, atheists, you can expect no mercy, because you have the truth, but you reject it. Listen to this account by Dr. Michael Yeager, who God gave a vision of hell. At about 200 feet above this lake of lava, fire and brimstone, the pain got almost too much to bear. He then saw some objects bobbing up and down in this burning sea of what looked like lava. There were tens of thousands of these objects. These objects were actually human beings bobbing up and down and back and forth. These people were weeping and wailing in extreme agony. No relief from pain was available to them. Their bodies were burned black in the sea of fire and brimstone. Suddenly he plunged into the lava and it covered him and filled his eyes, nose, throat, lungs, etc. His eyes felt like they were being consumed out of their sockets and could barely breathe. He finds it difficult to explain the amount of pain he was experiencing. He also knew hell was eternal and no chance of getting out. There were other creatures in the sea of fire that looked like huge worms. They would come to the surface and then disappear and then return to the surface. About 20 feet from him he saw them coming to the surface and they were coming towards him. When they reached him they began boring into him and went inside his body and brain and were coming out of his eyes. They were driving him insane. Where the worm dies not. There is no end to these things in hell. They are eternal. There is no place to go for any relief. There is no love there. It is totally void of love. An emptiness beyond comprehension enveloped him. The evidence is overwhelming that we live in a fine-tuned universe, deliberately created to give humans a stable environment to live in. Now, creation deniers, is it really worth the risk of an eternity of such torture? Please accept Jesus today. Everything will be much easier to understand once your burden of sin and the oppression of evil is lifted off you.